Good morning, everyone. So today I wanted to do a quick update of the things that's been going on, why I've been kind of quiet, an event that's coming up, the Morrigans Call retreat, and some things that have been going on. So I'll start with updating, and it all kind of flows together. So I'm going to the Morrigans Call retreat, and this is an event that's been going on. I think this is their 9th year doing it. And this will be the first in-person type of festival gathering in the pagan and witch community that I've been to in a really long time. And there's a lot of reasons for that. My experiences always haven't been so great. And it's not the people per se, it's some of the group kind of mentality. But that was also smaller groups too, not so much festival-y kind of things. So it'll be very interesting. I'm really excited. There's some people that I know online that we have talked for quite a long time and share a lot of different experiences and commonalities and differences. And they're going to be there. And so I'm really excited to meet them in person and have time to have real conversations. But in this planning, I've been planning this trip for a while, and I'm going to be presenting also at the Morrigan's Call retreat. I'm presenting a workshop called Connecting to the Morrigan Through Her Cycles to Create Personal Transformation. And all of that work is based on my personal work, not, so much diving into lore or what community finds in those areas. Anyway, so I've been preparing to go on this retreat, and it's been a really crazy 2-3 months. So first our internet went out. The internet company was having problems with their towers, and because we're in the country, it's spotty service in general, but it went on for a month and we virtually had no internet. I mean, you're talking kilobytes per second, so lower than dial-up speeds, and you couldn't really do anything. You couldn't load anything. Maybe some static web pages every now and then. So we went through that, and it was a constant struggle, and we finally got the internet back up. And as soon as we got the internet back up, the main water line between the house and between the public service space where your meter is broke. And so it was leaking, and we didn't know because we didn't have any clues that it was leaking until the bill came. And then it was really huge. So we had that going on next, and trying to find workers down here, professionals, seems to be a really difficult task. I mean, everybody thinks that it's great that, you want to be the witch in the woods and live in the country and all this, but there are different kinds of challenges when you do that. And work people being one of them, the internet being one of them. You make sacrifices for the choice that you make to live in the woods. And so we waited on one guy for about 3 weeks and he didn't show up. And then we called another company, and, they've been a week delayed now. And so we're still waiting on trying to fix the water. But we've been taking all of it in stride. We haven't been getting upset about these things. We haven't been getting angry and freaking out. We're just handling the situation. And it's difficult. You have to make some big changes. You have to do some alterations, but it's not undoable. And getting upset about these things wasn't going to help us through these things. We couldn't fix the internet company's problem. They had to fix it. We can't climb up their towers and figure out what's going on. the water line breaking. We live in the woods. We've got a lot of trees, when we have a lot of rain and stuff, soak the ground, and the trees kind of shift a little bit, or they grow a little bit more. And so, it's going to happen. Occasionally a little root is going to press a little bit too hard, and it's going to crack it. These are just things that happen that you don't have control over. But the one thing we do have control over in those situations is how we react to them and the actions that we take. And so that's what we've been focused on. And so I'm preparing for this trip. It's a 16, 17 hour halfway across the country trip here. We're Kentucky, Indiana area, and this is up in Connecticut. So long drive. And we were originally going to go, all of us as a family, me and my husband and our children. But some things happened. And so it ended up that it had to be just me going, which in itself is a strange and difficult thing. My husband and I have never really spent time apart. I haven't really spent time apart with the triplets. Maybe a night or two here and there. But generally not. We just don't do travel without each other. And so it's going to be week long now to get there and to do the retreat and then come home. And so we're all kind of preparing and dealing for that. And in the midst of this, I was like, okay, so we need to make sure the car's ready and, is in good shape, and, get the radiator flushed because we were having some issues there, and get the oil changed and give it a once over. Took it into the mechanic, and they called us back and they said, your gasket head is going bad on your car. And that is almost taking the engine apart in order to replace this part. And of course, because we live down in the country and in the middle of nowhere, nobody can do it for months. I mean, these people are booked up until like August, September, before they can even get your car in. So can't drive it that kind of distance, because if something happened, then I'm all by myself on the road. And I don't like driving as much. I used to love driving. My car was my freedom. I absolutely loved it when I was younger. But we've gone through so many experiences because we did RV travel for a year with the kids, traveling around the United States. And we did a lot of back and forth travel. We've lived in, different parts of the country. And so, but we've had all these experiences on the road, especially on the RV trip, because we were driving a classic RV, which means, specialized kind of parts and, hard to find things when stuff breaks, and stuff always breaks. And so I was like, okay, well, what are our options? Because we're a week out from me leaving for the Morrigans Call retreat. And I don't like flying at all. I've done it several times. I've never had a good experience with flying. And so I just choose not to. And that's okay. I can choose not to. But instead, we looked at options, and the Greyhound Bus. Now, let me tell you, I have watched so many videos about the Greyhound Bus since we got this idea that, maybe that would be the better option. And all the videos I've seen have been kind of negative. Even when they're trying to be positive, they sound negative about it. And so it kind of freaks me out a little bit. But at the same time, there's a slight beauty in it, a possibility of a slight beauty, is that I won't be driving. So I can sit there and I can watch all the scenery. That's something else you can't do in a plane. You don't get to see the things on the ground. Not really. And so perspective, I like to see things when we drive. And I don't get to do that when I'm driving, but when my husband's driving, I get to, just stare out the window and look at all the things going on, the animals and the scenery. And I love that. And so I don't have to drive through it. That's fantastic. One of the biggest downsides that I'm feeling right now is my last layover is in New York. And so I will be in New York City in a bus station from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. So, yeah. There are so many things that I could see going wrong, and I'm a little nervous by everybody's comments and their experiences on the bus, but at the same time, I'm just going to look at this as an adventure. I've never done it before. I've never ridden a bus. And this is going to be a 30-hour trip, so on a bus. So it'll be really interesting. And I'm going to take video, and I'm going to make videos throughout this entire bus trip and the retreat and when I get home, because I'm going to find it very interesting. It's going to be an experience for me, so I'll share it with you. So what does all this have to do with cause and effect? It was really difficult for me because I was sitting there, and I've been working on some major projects, some major craft work, practice work, and spiritual work. And so I've been kind of quiet as I work through these things, but it's all been positive. And I don't mean, it's all love and light positive. There's both. I mean, you've got some things you have to work through and clear out, and those aren't always pretty. But what I mean by positive is it was going really well, and it was going smoothly, and I was been really into the work and doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I've been listening to my deity and, doing the work that they put in front of me that I need to do. Sorry. A little bit of pollen. And so all of this was really positive. The work that I was doing has been flowing great. And, all the readings I'm getting are great. And the communications I've had with deity and my ancestors have been great. And, but in my physical life, all these bad things were happening. We had the internet go out. And if it wasn't for the fact that, I'm working the temple, and I am, we're creating and building this different kind of community there, it probably wouldn't have been such a bad thing. But it was really detrimental for that, because I couldn't get on. I couldn't talk to them. I couldn't see what they were doing. I couldn't, do the things that I normally do with that community building. And it's a new community. So it was kind of important. Well, no, it was very important to me. It's not just kind of important. It was very important to me. And so, and it also affected our business, my husband's business and stuff, because he works online. And, so it created a lot of turmoil for us as far as in physical life. But again, all my readings, everything was going great. And I was like, okay, things happen. It's a thing. And then when the water line broke, same kind of thing. And then when the car, it was just so many things. And little by little, I was like, wow, what is going on? Everything's going swimmingly with the work that I'm doing. I am doing my job in service to my deity. I am doing the things that I'm supposed to. And all my readings were great and positive and very, you're doing this. Don't forget about this, make sure we're seeing clear picture here. It was just really flowing well. And so I couldn't understand why in my physical life, outside of my spirituality belief areas, were things seeming to be crashing. And why was this aspect just blossoming? And here's the thing. When we talk about cause and effect, almost all the time we're sitting there talking about, our action causes a ripple effect, and, the farther out it goes, the smaller it gets, but it has influence and it changes things within the world, every action that we do, small and big. But we don't really talk about the fact that there are things, because of other people's actions, or just because of time and cycles and transitions, that things happen that we have absolutely no control over. We have absolutely no cause in making it happen. But at the same time, we have to deal with the effect of that. We have to deal with the repercussions and how it interferes and interacts with our life. And I don't think most people think about that aspect. Not in that way, at least. Not where we're talking about that it is, beyond our scope. We can't do anything about it. The one thing we can control and do, and our part in this cause and effect scene, is how we react to it and the actions we take because of it. Do we get angry? Do we, get sorrowful? Do we buck and fight the system, or do we give in to it? There are all these, and these are extremes, and there's all a bunch of gray in the middle. But it's our reactions to it and how we handle these situations and what we allow it to do as far as putting blockages on our path, on what we're working towards. And it took a friend pulling some cards for me to really get it. And here's the thing, the cards that she pulled are the same things that I've been getting, and that me and this person, my friend, have been working on. And because she's been working on me with some of these concepts and some of these deep dives. And so she knows what I've been getting. She's, been reading my messages. I share all of this stuff with her. And her message that she pulled was the same thing. Keep doing the good job, and, keep going forward, and don't forget about this, and you're doing what you're supposed to do. And I was sitting there in the midst of this, and I was like, how is this possible? I mean, how can there be such two different extreme things going on at once in this area? And it's because the spiritual aspect, my practice, the changes in my craft, in my witchcraft, the changes, and it's not really changes, it's the growth in my spiritualism and connections and bonds that I make. Those have been good. Changing, but good. And a big focus. And again, we had all these world problems that we have nothing that we could do about. And so I was worrying at first that, am I not supposed to go to this retreat? Am I not supposed to give this talk? Are people not ready for this? Or is something really bad going to happen on this trip? And these are all roadblocks telling me not to go. But I have a duty to the Morrigan. And I know that sounds weird to some people, but my service as a priestess has nothing to do with a title. It has to do with my responsibility in my service. And, we've been working on this for quite some time. And I've been doing sharing for her for quite some time, because that is what she requested me, is sharing my experiences, sharing my perspectives, and sharing my work with her. that is my service aspect that she wants from me. And so this is what I'm doing. And so hell or high water, I'm getting there. And but sometimes all these things happen to us and it has nothing to do with us. But how we react to them, what we do with that, does reflect everything about us. So it's just something to think about. So I've rambled quite a bit. Like I said, I'll be taking videos and uploading things as I go along my journey. And you can see what that is like for a very newbie person riding on Greyhound and trying to deal with whatever happens to happen. And hopefully we'll see a lot of beauty too. That'd be great. I really want to see some beautiful things on my way. And I will take some video and do some talking while I'm at the Morrigans Call retreat. I'll be sharing things when I get back as far as what I share in this presentation. I'll be going over these pieces and stuff here. I'm going to start bringing that in. I've just been holding off until I presented first. So it's not repeat information for some people. And I'm reading a really interesting book about Ozark folk magic. And I'm not reading it yet. I received the book. I flipped through it without, just kind of skimming 2 parts of it because I'm saving it for the bus ride. I'll probably be reading it while I'm there. But the couple of things that I saw, I'm really excited about. It's all about their folk magic and their lore and their take on things. And the couple of things that I saw were very different perspectives on topics than we see them presented in other books, and then we see them presented on YouTube and social medias and stuff of that nature. And they're closer to some of mine and the way that I would look at things, or the questions that I would look at. So I'm really excited. I'll be going through that and posting that. I'm hoping before I go sometime today, I'll be uploading a book review for some books for the Morrigan. 3 in specific that I really love and that I recommend if anybody is interested in her. And I'm not sure what other catch-up I'll do. We'll just see how it flows. But I hope you guys are all doing great. I hope you got something out of this crazy rambling. And maybe some perspective. Some perspective in cause and effect. And some perspective in just flowing with life. Because there's always going to be something. There's always going to be something irritating us or going wrong or changing in some form or fashion. And that's okay. I mean, that's life, that's cycles, that's how we grow. It's our transformation. It is what it is. And how we react and what we do with what's given to us. I think that's the important part. So think about it. Come up with your own answers. Love to hear anybody's comments down below. Love conversation. So stay good. Do what it is that you do. Walk your own path. Have a wonderful day.